Guess what day it is?
You're listening to The Sports Blast with Ashish Sharma.
The only shortcoming that the Broncos have versus the 07 Patriots is John Fox. I'm sorry, you're not Bill Belichick.
Brian Roach.
Gomes, he was punting beers. I mean, you know how fast the cup can go being punted?
David Pollard.
I would absolutely consider it a failure if they were knocked out in the divisional series.
And Mark Lozelle.
It's just a collective group. You know, they're dirt dogs. They get the job done.
Welcome one, welcome all to the first official edition of the Sports Blast here on 1460 WXBR. I'm Ashish Sharma with Brian Roach, David Pollard, and Mark Lozelle. Gentlemen, what's up?
Not too much.
I'm excited to have this show. Be here today. Every Wednesday night here on 1460 WXBR, 7 to 9 p.m. We'll be talking nothing but Boston sports. And guys, I just want to say, we couldn't have picked a better week.
No better time.
To start our show. I mean, what we got the Sox in Detroit for Game 4 of the ALCS. There was a particular fantastic Sunday that I think everyone in Boston experienced this past Sunday, which I don't think we'll ever forget. So I think this is a very exciting time to have this show.
Yeah, epic Sunday for Boston sports. The Patriots come back against the New Orleans Saints. They score a touchdown with 5 seconds left on the clock and beat the Saints. And you got the Red Sox in the ALCS, and guess what? They're up 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, it was a historic day, Sunday. You know, if you were a Boston fan, you would have loved it, you know. From the Patriots to the Red Sox, it was extraordinary.
Yeah, it's one of those days that kind of it reminds you, it puts you in your place as a Boston sports fan. And I mean, put you in your place might not be the right saying because it's awesome sometimes to be a Boston sports fan. And Sunday was definitely one of those days where Boston sports fans could kind of sit back and say, hey, we're really on top here.
And we're really strong. Strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be honest, guys, I was watching both those games like any of us. I wasn't that confident either a Patriots or a Red Sox win that day when you go back and you look at the situation, which we'll get more into in this show. You know, you go back to the Patriots game and Drew Brees and the Saints cap off this massive comeback, and now you're looking at a drive that's going to start on your own 30-yard line, no timeouts, receivers that have been dropping so many balls. You don't think that Tom Brady, despite having 3 chances, is going to be able to manufacture a game-winning drive like that. But he did. And then just a few hours later, David Ortiz with the bases loaded. You had a no-hitter thrown against you for the majority of the game. Bases loaded, 2 out, bottom of the 8th. David Ortiz against Joaquin Benoit crushes it, ties the game, and then you guys know the rest. And now the Red Sox are looking at a 2-1 lead in the LCS. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I felt like they were both signs of desperation. And, you know, I felt like Ortiz, you know, they were struggling to hit the ball, you know, throughout the whole game. And Ortiz came up big. And then Tom Brady, you know, Drew Brees left 2 minutes on the clock for Tom Brady to play with, and he made the most of that final drive.
Bill Belichick said after the game on Sunday that it felt like it took 5 years off of his life.
Yeah.
I'm sure a ton of people throughout New England felt that way, but then you turn on Game 2 of the ALCS, and are you kidding me? With you're down, you haven't hit Detroit pitching in the entire series. For the entire series right up till the 8th inning on Sunday, Detroit outplayed the Red Sox. But somehow, Big Papi gets up there with the bases loaded, 2 outs. Everyone's thinking grand slam, but it's still unbelievable when it happens.
You know, and something interesting about this series, again, the Red Sox are up 2-1. They have had 3 consecutive no-hit bids into the 5th or 6th inning against them in this series. And again, they are up 2-1 in this series. It could very easily be down 3-0. And on the flip side of that, they almost, or I don't want to say almost won Game 1, but they were very close. I mean, despite having a combined no-hitter go into the 9th inning against them, they got a man on in the 9th inning. Can you imagine if they tied that and somehow took the lead? How this would look? A combined no-hitter going into the 9th inning, and you end up with a win, and then you end up going up 3-0. That's pretty, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before.
I felt like that Game 3 was, you know, destiny for the Red Sox. After Ortiz hit that grand slam, you know, you saw Prince Fielder, you know, misplay a foul ball and then a pass ball by Avila, and they were just falling apart. And I really think Ortiz's, you know, home run really hit them hard, and the Red Sox were destined to win.
Yeah, the thing is that it tells me you can't ever count the Red Sox out of a game. I mean, grit doesn't really ever – you don't picture grit as something that factors in baseball. But the Red Sox have grit, and they don't stop. I know that's a contrived statement, but they do not stop playing. If you give them a chance to win late in the game, if they're hanging in there, they're going to have a shot. And it's just showed the past few games that if you beat the Tigers starting pitching and you get to their bullpen, you got a shot with this team any day of the week.
Mm-hmm. Grit, determination, resilience. I think those are all qualities of not just the Red Sox, but the Patriots, as we saw on Sunday. And you could even take it back to the Bruins this year in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final in the first round against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were down, 4-1 in the third period?
Yeah, 4-1, and they come back, and they got the big 2 goals with a minute 30 left. It's these Boston teams. I think maybe it has something to do with the city itself and the personality that the city carries. They want to see this from their teams. They want to see their teams have grit, determination. They want to see them play hard every night. We know the difference as Boston sports fans, and lately all the teams are giving us a good show.
And let me tell you, it's beyond jitters. It's a feeling. It's a unique feeling that I feel like any sports city doesn't feel. Every sports city doesn't feel. Besides Boston, there's just something in the air in Boston. I mean, that's so cliche, but seriously, there's a feeling whenever David Ortiz comes out with bases loaded, David Ortiz is going to hit a grand slam. When Tom Brady has the ball with 2 minutes in his hands, Tom Brady's going to make the most of that last drive. And a nice throw to Kimbrel Tompkins.
Right. Now, getting back to today's show, we actually have a jam-packed show planned for you guys today. We have so many guests lined up. Dave, who do we got? We got Brian Macpherson of the Providence Journal joining us in just about 2 minutes to talk some Red Sox baseball in Game 4 of the ALCS. We also have Tim Britton.
Tim Britton's going to be here from the Providence Journal as well, and we got Paul Perillo from Patriots Football Weekly and Patriots.com at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. And we also got Dan Cagen from Metrowest Daily News. He's a Bruins beat writer. He's going to be on at 8:30 with us. It's a loaded show tonight.
It is absolutely a loaded show. It's going to be a lot of fun, and these beat writers that will be joining us will be joining us directly from Comerica Park in Detroit, so it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Going to pick their brains about what they thought about last night's game by John Lackey, which was absolutely phenomenal. Outpitched Justin Verlander. Who saw that coming? We were talking about this not too long ago. John Lackey on the road is a much different guy than he is at home. And I was so impressed by what I saw. Yeah,
and let me tell you, everybody talks about Detroit's pitching. The Red Sox pitching was just outstanding. They kept them in the game, and the game, room to actually put runs on the board.
Mm-hmm. Well, all that and more, we're going to be coming back with you. We'll have Brian Macpherson, again, of the Providence Journal, joining us to talk Game 4 tonight. Stick around, WXBR.
Oh, come on.
Computer problem? Call Nanny Tech and it will be problem solved. Nanny Tech provides 24 hours on-site service specialists. Business or residential, call 774-316-NANY and we'll get you up and running. That's 774-316-6269. If the problem can't be solved on site, we offer free pickup and delivery. Save this number because you don't know when you're going to need it. Call 774-316-6269. We also provide network solution, web design, computer classes, and a lot more. 774-316-6269. That's 774-316-NANY. Come down and visit us at 1 Center Street located in Brockton, Mass. Nanny Tech. Upgrade yourself.
This is Southern New England's best. The new AM 1460, WXBR Brockton, Southern New England and beyond. A broadcast service of Azure Media, LLC.
Hey, it's me, your piggy bank. Remember when you were a little kid? All the dimes and quarters in my back? Yeah, that was good times. Good times. Now lately, I gotta be honest, you've been ignoring me. Money's been slipping through your hands like a greased pig. Get it? Because I'm a... Anyway, I know how it is. Now that you get a real paycheck, it's nice to have stuff. You'll start saving money next year. Well, I hate to tell you, but good saving habits start now. Put just $20 in the bank a month. Make your own coffee at home instead of that latte every morning. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering in. Those changes alone could save you thousands of dollars a year. Come on, I'm your piggy bank. We can be together again, me and you, the special times. Anyway, if you don't want me to cry anymore, feed me. Go to feedthepig.org for more ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
Time now for your WXBR Sports Blast headline.
In the American League Championship Series, the Red Sox took a 2-1 series lead over the Detroit Tigers with a 1-0 victory in Game 3 last night. John Lackey pitched 6 2/3 scoreless innings. He had 8 strikeouts and no walks. Mike Napoli hit a solo home run in the top of the 7th inning to break a scoreless tie. The Sox bullpen took it from there as Craig Breslow, Junichi Tozawa, and Koji Uehara combined to pitch 3 1/3 scoreless innings in relief to close out the game. Game 4 is tonight in Detroit. First pitch is at 8:07. Starting pitchers for tonight, righty Jake Peavy takes the mound for the Sox. Right-hander Doug Fister gets the start for the Tigers. The lineup for the Sox is as follows: Jacoby Ellsbury in center, Shane Victorino in right, Dustin Pedroia at second base, David Ortiz in the DH spot, Mike Napoli at first, Daniel Nava gets the start in left field, Jared Saltalamacchia at catching, Stephen Drew at short, and Will Middlebrooks will bat ninth and play third base. For the Tigers, Torrey Hunter leads off in right field, Miguel Cabrera at third base, Prince Fielder at first, Victor Martinez is the DH, Johnny Peralta in left, Alex Avila at catcher, Omar Infante at second base, Austin Jackson in center, and Jose Iglesias plays shortstop and bats ninth. In the NLCS, St. Louis topped the LA Dodgers 4-2 last night in Game 4 to take a 3-1 series lead. Game 5 started at 4 o'clock this evening. LA leads that game 6-3 in the top of the 9th inning. The Patriots beat the New Orleans Saints 30-27 in a nail-biter on Sunday. The Pats were down 27-24 with a minute 13 remaining on the clock and no timeouts, but Tom Brady took the offense down the field for an 8-play, 70-yard drive, capped off by a touchdown pass to Kembrell Tompkins with 5 seconds left on the game clock. The Pats moved to 5-1 after the win. They take on the New York Jets this Sunday. Kickoff is set for 1 o'clock. The Boston Bruins fell to 3-2 following a 3-2 loss to the Red Wings on Monday. The Bees begin a 3-game road trip tomorrow night in Florida. Tim Thomas will likely be in the net against his former team. He's been out with a lower body injury since early last week. Reports say he'll be ready for the start in tomorrow night's game. The Celtics are playing the Raptors tonight at the Air Canada Center. They're playing as we speak. Tip-off was at 7 o'clock. Those are your Sports Blast headlines. Be sure to check out our website at www.sportsblast.co.
7 to 9 p.m. only on 1460 WXBR.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Blast here on 1460 WXBR. Joining us now via the phone lines is Brian Macpherson of the Red Sox beat writer for the Providence Journal. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing great. Thanks so much for joining us. Brian, I wanted to start by talking about John Lackey. He's had a ton of big performances this season for the Red Sox, and even his career if you go back with the Angels. But considering the circumstances and who he was going up against last night in Justin Verlander, that had to be the best we've ever seen him here in Boston.
Well, certainly in Boston, yeah. I mean, you forget, given the way he started his Red Sox career, you sort of forget about that guy with the Angels who pitched Game 7 of the World Series, who pitched all those big games with the Angels. But this is the John Lackey the Red Sox gave $17 million a year to. That's the guy they wanted. A guy that could go toe-to-toe with Justin Verlander. He was the ace of the Angels staff. He pitched great last night. He commanded. He didn't walk anybody. He threw his breaking ball, his slider, and his curveball with devastating effectiveness. That was easily the best, most impressive start of his Red Sox career.
Hey, Brian. Jake Peavy is getting the ball tonight. Are his previous dreadful performances against the Tigers detrimental in this postseason start?
I mean, I don't think you worry too much about individual matchups in this case. If some of those were a little while ago, some of those were where he was hurt. That's what, whether it's batter, pitcher, whether it's pitcher team, you don't make too much out of that sort of thing. Peavy's been a good pitcher. He knows how to pitch this lineup. They traded for him, to pitch this game. They wanted him to pitch Game 4 of a playoff series. This is the guy they went out to go and get. They love his competitiveness. They love his command. He pitched great against Tampa. And I think they feel pretty good about having Jake Peavy pitching Game 4 of the ALCS.
Hey, Brian, you compared Mike Napoli to Mark Bellhorn, the article you wrote after the game last night, and the comparison is striking. They both strike out a lot. They both hit for power. and very little for contact. And Bellhorn was the owner for the Red Sox strikeout record before Napoli broke the record this season. My question is, what makes a manager stay with guys like Mike Napoli and Mark Bellhorn?
Because you've seen what they can do in the past, and you've seen that, I guess, striking out a lot does not mean they're not going to be able to deliver a big hit when the time comes. I mean, John Farrell saw Mike Napoli all year. He saw these stretches where he would strike out a lot, or he would look overmatched, or he would swing and miss at fastballs in the strike zone. And both of them still walk a lot. They're not just going 1 for 10 with 9 strikeouts. They're both drawing walks and working counts. Napoli's seeing a ton of pitches, and that's helped them. That certainly helped them get into the bullpen a little earlier. That's what the whole team's trying to do. That's part of the approach. And, when you know these guys, you know that all it takes is one swing, one misplaced fastball for them to make an impact. That's why you stick with a guy like that, because just because he's striking out, that's part of his game. That's what happens. But everything else about his game was still consistent. He was seeing pitches. He was occasionally hitting the ball hard still and not getting rewarded for it. You don't panic in the playoffs based on 10 plate appearances or 20 plate appearances. You go with the guys that got you there, because those are the guys that were the best guys over 600 plate appearances.
And with Napoli, working the count and finding the pitches he likes, do you think he takes too many and should be more aggressive?
No, I don't think so. I think he's got a pretty consistent plan. And, a lot of these guys, you could say some of these guys should be more aggressive, but they go up there. Napoli especially says all the time that he looks at them as an aggressive hitting team. It's just that they're aggressive when they get their pitch. They don't want to chase. And sometimes that means they're getting that borderline pitch that's not their pitch, and they take it for a third strike. But Napoli swings a lot, and he swings and misses a lot. It's not like he's taking, a guy like Steven Drew or a guy like Daniel Nava, they're taking third strikes more often than Mike Napoli is. The way he is as a hitter, he doesn't make a ton of contact even in the strike zone. The thing is, though, when he makes contact, he hits it really far.
Brian, again on Mike Napoli, he's struggled a lot up to the point where he actually took Verlander deep last night. Do you think that the home run might have been sort of a fluke, or is it maybe a good sign that he might start putting the bat on the ball a little more as we go forward?
Well, it certainly could be a good sign. I mean, that was the interesting thing about the Bellhorn comparison, is that he was terrible, and then he got it going, and he was on fire for 6 games through the rest of the postseason. And the Red Sox would love that from Mike Napoli, because you've seen Mike Napoli in the past in the 2011 World Series. If Texas wins that World Series, he's the World Series MVP. He's right. Capable of getting scorching hot. We saw that in September. I think the Red Sox would love that to be the case now. I mean, there's no way to know. There's no way to know what's going to happen. His matchups against Doug Fister, for whatever it's worth, haven't been real good. So it still depends on the pitching he's facing. It still depends on if mistakes get made to him. But he's certainly capable of going on a run.
Now, there were a couple of lineup changes tonight as well on the Sox side. Do you like going with Daniel Nava tonight over Johnny Gomes?
I mean, Nava's been the guy against right-handed pitchers all year. It was more curious, I think, that Gomes was in there the last couple of days than bringing back Nava, because Nava's been their guy. His on-base percentage against righties this season was over 400. I mean, he's consistently been their guy against right-handed pitching. That's what he does. So I don't think it's a surprise at all to see him back in there.
And just on the game tonight, we've got Jake Peavy going up against Doug Fister. Do you think it's going to be anything similar to the first 3 games, or are we going to see it open up a little bit tonight?
I think that's the big question. I think people are thinking that there's got to be a 10-8 game in here somewhere, 12-10, or even 6-5. I guess 6-5 in game 2, but nobody scored until the late innings. I don't know. Doug Fister and Jake Peavy are both really good pitchers. Doug Fister had a better ERA this season than John Lester, so he's no pushover. He's not a guy to overlook just because Justin Verlander pitched yesterday. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if you saw another 1-0 or 2-1 game. But at some point with these offenses, you have to think somebody's going to break through. Maybe it's tonight, maybe it's another night. But both of these guys are really good pitchers, so I wouldn't guarantee any kind of offensive explosion tonight.
Brian, before we let you go, I just wanted to ask you about a specific play that happened last night. In the top of the 8th inning, Steven Drew led off with a single and then reached second on a Torrey Hunter error. Will Middlebrooks came up with nobody out and didn't bunt in that situation. To a lot of people criticized him for that, or rather John Farrell for not giving the signal for him to lay down a bunt. Now, we know that Will Middlebrooks is not an excellent bunter, but in that situation, do you believe that the Red Sox should have bunted there?
They haven't been a real big bunting team all year. I mean, especially for a guy like Middlebrooks who hasn't done it very much, that would have been a tough thing to ask. And I believe in that situation, they're already up a run. So it's not like you're playing, if you're down a run, maybe it changes it. If you're down, if you absolutely need that run to cross the plate, then maybe that changes the equation. You try and get that bunt down and try and play for one run and get the guy to third with less than 2 outs. But especially being up 1-0 in that circumstance, I think you play it straight, and that's the way the Red Sox have all year. They'd be getting away from their game if they bunt there because, Middlebrooks is capable of hitting one up the gap, and that's what they wanted him to do, was hit the ball hard somewhere, and then you've got Ellsbury, Victorino, Pedroia behind him. Maybe you've got a chance for a big inning. So I think that's what they're looking for there in a situation where that single run isn't necessarily as different the way it would be if they were down a run.
All right, awesome. Hey, Brian, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right,
Brian
Macpherson of the Red Sox, of the Providence Journal, I should say, Red Sox beat writer, joining us here on 1460 WXBR. And, it's very interesting, guys, that he feels that eventually this is going to open up and we're going to see a lot of runs cross the plate eventually, because this has been a series that has literally seen every game decided by one run.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another tight game. I think that's the model for the series so far. The first 3 games decided by a run, solid pitching. I wouldn't be surprised if there were fewer strikeouts tonight coming from Doug Fister, but he's a different kind of pitcher than Sanchez, Scherzer, and Verlander. He'll hit for contact, but if the Red Sox are hitting the ball in the air tonight, that's a good sign for the Sox. They don't want to be hitting the ball on the ground against Fister because that means he's on tonight.
And you know what, guys? The Red Sox are 12 for 89 this series, and that is extremely low compared to their season average of 277 this season. And you do the math with 12 divided by 89, it's 134.
They're hitting 083 against the starters.
083 against the starters, but as a total, 134 for the series. So they're struggling to get the bat of the ball, but, you might see a little shakeup.
Yeah, it's, again, I agree with Brian that we are not going to see a bunch of... we have Jake Peavy and Doug Fister going tonight, who are capable starters. They're very good starters, and ever since Jake Peavy came over to Boston from Chicago, he has been absolutely magnificent.
A big-time pitcher.
Absolutely. But I do think that and again, I think he's, when he said a 12-10 game or something like that, I don't know if I necessarily see that the way both bullpens have pitched, but I do think that it'll eventually open up just a little bit, and one starter may allow maybe 4 runs or so.
Yeah, like a 5-4 kind of game. I can kind of see it.
Something
happening.
Similar to Game 2.
Right.
Something like that. So it'll certainly be interesting to see where this goes. Game 4, the Red Sox have a chance to take a 3-1 lead in this series, and we thought they were down and out just this past Sunday, and now all of a sudden they're looking at a chance to really take a stranglehold on this series. Don't go anywhere, because we are coming right back with another special guest from the Providence Journal. Tim Britton will be joining us right after this. 1460 WXBR.
Very local, very southern New England. This is the new AM 1460 WXBR Brockton, a broadcast service of Azure Media, LLC.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Getting support from friends online kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
When our men and women join the military, they're told if they're injured, our government will take care of them. But what if you served and sacrificed for your country and couldn't get the specialized care, military benefits, and career opportunities you needed? Chris Sullivan was on patrol in Iraq when a sniper's bullet severed his spinal cord, leaving him paralyzed. He's one of the 85% of veterans with severe disabilities who are unemployed. Keisha Wright, Paralyzed Veterans Counselor.
We got people who have amazing abilities, and they're just not having the opportunity to go back to work and live their full potential.
Paralyzed Veterans of America is on a mission. Mission ABLE. to help our seriously wounded veterans receive what they need most: care, benefits, and jobs. Army Sergeant Chris Sullivan.
If it wasn't for PVA, I would not be where I'm at today. I would have never had this job opportunity.
Join the mission at mission-able.com.
America had just gone to war when Felipe Adams volunteered.
I took a bullet to the side and left me paralyzed.
For Armando de la Rosa, the Navy was a chance to serve and see the world.
I got medically discharged in 2001.
For injured veterans like Felipe Adams, there are veterans like Armando de la Rosa ready to help.
Our training is to better the veteran.
Paralyzed Veterans of America, changing lives, building futures. Visit PVA.org.
I'm in the car next to you on the highway. I sit in front of you on the bus. I'm one out of every 6 Americans, and I'm struggling with hunger. This isn't an uncontrollable epidemic. There's enough food in this country to feed every hungry person. Please, visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to The Sports Blast with Ashish Sharma, Brian Roach, David Pollard, and Mark Lozelle. Check us out online at www.sportsblast.co.
Welcome back to the Sports Blast 1460 WXBR. We have joining us again now from Comerica Park, from the Providence Journal now, we have Tim Britton. Tim, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing pretty good. We're glad to have you on board with us. Tim, I wanted to start actually by asking you about one of the opposing players. Johnny Peralta, as we all know, is one of the guys named in the biogenesis scandal. Do you think Major League Baseball should review its protocol in terms of allowing suspended players the opportunity to return for the postseason?
You know, I don't really have as big an issue with this as some people do, just because he served his time. Like, you know, they offered him a 50-game suspension, he took it, and now he's back for the postseason. You know, if they're going to review the protocol, it's got to come from the Players Association too, and wanting stiffer penalties for first-time offenses.
Hey, how's it going, Tim? So tonight we got Jake Peavy going up against Doug Fister in Game 4. Doug Fister a little bit different from the 3 starters that we've seen in Games 1, 2, and 3. Do you expect things to open up a little bit tonight for the Sox?
I mean, in the sense that they can't really be much more close. They haven't gotten a hit before the I think, in the first 3 games. So, I mean, Fister is not quite as dominant a starter as the other 3 guys. He's more, he's the guy who's going to have you put the ball in play more often. He hits the contact with that sinker. He's also a guy who gets a lot of double plays. So, you know, it could be one of those frustrating nights where you can't turn in, you get base runners, but you can't turn into runs quite as easily.
So last night you wrote an article that, given the context, this was Lackey's finest start with the Red Sox. What to you was the best part of Lackey's start?
Well, I think you go into that start and you're facing Verlander, and you know that you're not going to get more than a run or 2 on your side. And so if the Red Sox are going to win that game, they need to unlike you go out and throw 6 or 7 shutout innings with 1 run in. You know, every starter tells you, I'm not pitching against the other pitcher. I don't really think about that. That's the lineup's problem. But Lackey knows if he goes out and gives those 3 runs in the first inning, that game's pretty much over. So I think pitching under that kind of pitch-to-pitch scrutiny, the pitch-to-pitch intensity, where if he makes one mistake, Miguel Cabrera hits a 2-run homer, that game's over. I think putting up the 0 as he did yesterday, that was the most impressive part of it.
Was Lackey's 97 pitches a key factor for Farrell pulling the starter with 2 outs in the 7th?
I mean, I think that was a little bit into it. You know, you're in the 7th inning. With the way the bullpen has performed in the postseason, especially those 3 guys, Breslow, Kuzawa, and Uehara, you had the lefty coming up. So you had the runner on first, lefty coming up. We've seen him do that before in the postseason with Peavy, when Peavy was kind of cruising in Game 4 against the Rays. Runner on, lefty coming up, you go to Breslow in that spot. He's done it twice now, and it's kind of worked both times.
Hey, Tim, it's Mark Loisel here. Are there any moves you would make tonight if you were either manager to spark up the lineup a little bit? We saw Farrell put Johnny Gomes in last night rather than Daniel Nava. Is there anything you would do if you were Leland?
I mean, Leland he shifted his order. I think it's the same 9 guys. Jose Iglesias is starting at shortstop, which makes sense when you've got a ground ball pitcher like Fister out there.
Right.
But he's moved Austin Jackson down to 8, so Torrey Hunter's leading off. And everyone else kind of moved up about Hunter's leading off, Cabrera's being second, and then Fielder. I think that's, the guys who have hurt the Red Sox in this series are Peralta and Martinez. And the reason that if they haven't hurt him too much is that Peralta and Martinez get on, and then you get into that bottom part of the order, Infante and Iglesias or Andy Dirt. Those guys haven't made them pay for those guys, for Peralta and Martinez getting on. So the Red Sox have gotten the right guys out, pretty much the guys ahead of Cabrera and the hotter hitters in the Tigers order.
Tim, before we let you go, I just want to ask, Phil Koch was brought in to face David Ortiz late in the game last night. Obviously, we all know the drama that happened in Game 2 on Sunday with Benoit. Do you think from here on out in this series, late in games, that Jim Leyland is going to go strictly to Phil Koch to face David Ortiz?
I think we'll see it more. The reason they didn't bring in Koch in Game 2 was because he hadn't pitched since September 18th, I think, so that's nearly a month without pitching, and then you're going to throw that guy into a bases-loaded situation and David Ortiz at the plate. That's a tough task for anyone, even a guy who boasts the career numbers against Ortiz that Koch does. So I think even, last night it's still a one-run game when he came in, but the Tigers are down a run. There's nobody on. There's one out. It's not quite the high-leverage situation it would have been in Game 2. So I think now that Koch kind of has his legs under him a little bit, we might see him more as the matchup lefty there, especially against Ortiz.
Awesome stuff, Tim. Always love it. Tim Britton, the Red Sox beat writer for the Providence Journal. Tim, we really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks, Tim.
Oh, thanks. Anytime.
All right,
Thank
take it
you,
easy. Yeah, no, that's very interesting. Phil Koch does have good numbers off David Ortiz, but remember, Joaquin Benoit had never surrendered a home run to David Ortiz before that grand slam on Sunday.
5 for 22.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it really is surprising. I felt like Benoit kind of felt comfortable in that position. And then, David Ortiz just lights him up, and he's like,
he left a changeup up over the middle of the plate. You can't do that.
And what's impressive to me about that at bat is that Ortiz was sitting on the changeup. He was ready for it. I mean, he wasn't
first pitch, he was being very aggressive. I think regardless.
Just a great adjustment that he made. He wasn't going to let them beat him with a fastball again, and I think he knew that they were trying to beat him with the fastball. And he adjusted, and it was just an amazing hit and an amazing moment in that game. But I think going back to what we were talking about earlier with just the fragility of this series so far, the Sox could have been down 3-0. Instead, they're up 2-1, and I personally, I'm wondering what the X factor is here. Is it the bench? The Red Sox have a deeper bench than Detroit. Is it really just the grit and determination of this team?
Like, their best hitter off the bench is Jose Iglesias.
And they don't run. They can't run off the bench either, right?
Peña's the backup catcher. They have this pinch runner who has one stolen base, Hector, whatever his name.
Didn't he come in the other night to pinch run for Martinez?
Martinez
he
turned
didn't
his
do
ankle
anything.
running first.
He has one steal.
Yeah, one steal on the season.
There you have it. The guy that you have coming off the bench for Detroit to get as a pinch runner, when you need a guy who's at first base who can steal second base, you go to a guy from the Detroit bench who's had one steal the entire season. Look at what the Red Sox have. You got Barry who hasn't failed to steal a base.
Xander Bogaerts has got some speed.
And the GM for the Detroit Tigers is one of the best GMs in the game. Mm-hmm. And I'm very shocked, you bring that up. It's a spectacular point because Quentin Barry, he is a risky move to sign, but the Red Sox wanted to sign him for his running. And that's what they looked at. They looked at all the attributes that, look at Mike Harp, look at Johnny Gomes, look at Quentin Barry, look at David Ross.
They got a way better bench than the Tigers.
The biggest thing
incredible.
This series, runners in scoring position, 2 outs for the Tigers, 2 for 15.
Do you have the Sox?
The Red Sox are 2 for 9.
Wow.
So they have had 6 more at-bats with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
Yeah, and it does seem like the Tigers aren't coming up with the big hit. Again, Ortiz drove in 4 runs with that hit. I think that's Ortiz's only hit so far in the series.
Same thing with Napoli.
Right, so, I mean, you've had a couple of really big hits, and that's what's put the Sox over the hump so far in this series, and that's why they're up 2-1. It's just unbelievable that Detroit, with all the hitting that they haven't been able to come up big in those situations.
Although when you talk about the Tigers and not with the timely hitting, I actually saw a funny stat. I think Omar Infante, not that he's a big hitter or anything, I think he's better with the bases empty than with runners in scoring positions, so that might have something to do with it.
The starters this series, 21 innings, 35 Ks, and 2 earned runs allowed for the Tigers.
And 69 batters faced, right? Starters have struck out more than half of the batters that they've faced.
And the Tigers are banking on all their superstars. You know, you got Prince Fielder, Miguel Cabrera.
Cabrera did not look right last night.
Johnny Peralta, Victor Martinez has been on a tear.
Career high 9 swinging strikes.
From Miguel Cabrera last
Yes.
night. Right. And he looked terrible in his last at-bat.
Oh, Junichi Tozawa, coming in to...
Well, if you throw him a fastball, that's...
Going
he
back
looked
speed.
off balance. He doesn't look 100%.
He's
and
not.
and
He's
I think
hobbling
that
over there.
I think that the at-bat last night against Tozawa was it showed perfectly. He's not at 100% because he was lunging. He was lunging at the ball on the outside of the plate. That's the best hitter in the major leagues right now. He's a Triple Crown winner.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's gonna not chase that pitch if he's healthy, or he's gonna put a bat on the ball and hit something foul. He couldn't even hit the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He has one out and a man on third. All he's got to do is hit a fly ball.
Right.
You expect Miguel Cabrera to be able to do that, and he couldn't last night.
Right.
I thought it was a terrible at-bat against Tozawa.
And my point, when you have a batting aura like Miguel Cabrera, Prince Fielder, you are really hoping that, the run production comes from them. With the Red Sox, it's just a complete team. They all know their role. They get the job. They get hits. They steal bases. David Ortiz hits home runs. Mike Napoli occasionally, as we saw. But they all know they play a factor, whether it's stealing bases or getting hits in the outfield or regular base hits.
Right, and just bringing back what Brian Macpherson said when he joined us, he said, look, Mike Napoli, they knew that when they signed him, he's a guy that's going to strike out a lot, but that's not all he does. He is a masher. He's going to get his big hits, his doubles, his home runs. That's what sluggers do. They strike out a lot, so why are we surprised? Well, we're surprised, maybe not surprised, maybe that's not the best word to use, but a little bit startled at the fact that he's been striking out at a record rate. But when he's given you what he has with the power numbers, why complain? I mean, yes, a lot of them have come in bad situations where he really should have driven in a run, but they're winning, and it's working, and Mike Napoli got a big hit last night to win the game for them.
And the main thing, he's healthy. That hit flexor, it's gone in a way. And they shouldn't even brought it up during contract negotiations because he might not be here next year because of that.
Hey, there's a young Cuban player who looks pretty nice at first base.
Abreu.
I would say that with Napoli and with all the Red Sox hitters, what's impressed me the most has been their approach to the Tigers starting pitching. I mean, they haven't hit the ball. They've been striking out left and right, and yet they still somehow managed to work the count, get the pitch count high up on these starters, and maybe have to have the starters taken out and get to the Tigers' bullpen a little faster.
Ortiz's at bat in the second inning where he worked that walk. That was crucial. And Gomes fouling off like thousands.
He had
of pitches.
a 9-pitch at bat, and I thought the Gomes at bat was really what kind of got the Red Sox going a little bit
in
that
still
game.
in that game, right?
Gomes almost hit one off of him too. Almost hit one.
He was by about 5 feet.
And Ortiz hit one in the second at bat that almost went out too.
Yep. A lot of loud outs yesterday. And, that's pretty much been the story for the Sox early on in this series is they did the few big outs that they had were loud outs. Like you go back to game 1, Stephen Drew had a really loud out at the end of the game that we thought was gone. I'm sure a lot of us did. I sure did. And it just ended up being a harmless fly ball to right field to Torrey Hunter. Which, speaking of Torrey Hunter, I mean, like that error in right field yesterday. Torrey Hunter of all people? Man, you don't see that a lot. Anyways, we got to take a break here, but we'll be right back with Hindsight 2020, one of our segments that will be debuting here tonight, 1460 WXBR.
Second one, not yours. And another number that's not yours. Okay, this is one number that's yours. It's a 5, but you don't get any money for that. And the final number is not yours.
Yep, so chances are you're not going to hit the lottery anytime soon. Don't get us wrong, the lottery can be fun every now and then. Just please don't rely on it for your future savings. How about this? Brew your own coffee at home instead of buying that latte every day. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering in. Ride your bike instead of buying all that gas. These changes alone can save you thousands a year. Thousands. Small changes today, big bucks tomorrow. Feed that piggy bank. Go to feedthepig.org for more free ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
WXBR Brooklyn.
Today in school, I learned a lot. In chemistry, I learned that no one likes me. In biology, I learned that I'm fat and stupid. In English, I learned that I'm disgusting. And to Jim, I learned that I'm pathetic and a joke. The only thing I didn't learn in school today is why no one ever helps.
Kids witness bullying every day. They want to help, but they don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov. A message from the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Lisa Edelstein. Every day on set, I help my fictional doctors save the lives of imaginary patients in the TV series House. Every day in his village in Ethiopia, Barasa Ware helps save the lives of real children as a local health worker. Like many children in the developing world, the ones in Barasa's village are threatened by common illnesses that kill millions worldwide. But unlike villages without a local health worker, the children of Barasa's village get the care they need to survive. Imagine how many more children could be saved with your help. When you help local health workers like Barasa, you help children survive all over the world. See where the good goes at goodgoes.org and find out all the ways you can help the good go further. Brought to you by Save the Children and the Ad Council.
So, Justin, I was playing that video game Forest Brigade, and it was pretty cool. I was running down this, digital path, and I met this digital frog, and he was all like... And then I went playing in this virtual stream where this water, it looked almost real. It was this whole electronic forest world. So what did you do?
Well, my parents took me to the forest, the real forest, where I was running down this... Well, it was an actual path. Then I saw this real-life frog. It was all like... ribbit, and I saw an owl too. Then I played in this amazing stream with water around my ankles, like wet water. Then me and my sister and my parents sat around a campfire and told cool stories all night long.
Oh, that's pretty cool, too.
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hello, sports fans. It's time for Hindsight 2020. That made you look like a fool here. On 1460 WXBR.
Welcome back to 1460 WXBR. It's the Sports Blast. Remember to check us out online, sportsblast.co. That is sportsblast.co. We're going straight into one of our segments called Hindsight 2020. A great segment, a lot of fun, where we just basically call each other out on what we said the previous week. And trust me, I've got a lot of stuff on my mind. I do remember Brian making a particular prediction last week, guys. That,
in our dry run.
In our dry run, before we actually went live with the show.
Yep.
That Miguel Cabrera is going to be a non-factor in this series. And he has been. He hasn't been Miguel Cabrera. He hasn't played all that well. But he said something along the lines of, Miguel Cabrera's not getting a home run. You know what? Instead of me telling you, why don't we just play the sound, Brian? Why don't you do the honors?
Cabrera has 2 extra base hits since August 26th.
But when the game is on the line, I'm terrified of him. I don't care. I don't care if he's an 0 for 30. I don't care if he's an 0 for 30 slump. You leave something over the plate, he's going to put it on Lansdowne Street.
No, he's not.
Brian, refresh my memory here. Didn't he hit a towering home run in Game 2 of the ALCS to give the Detroit Tigers not a pretty big lead, but a lead at some point?
Yes, but that's one at bat.
It's still Miguel Cabrera, Brian.
One at bat.
It's one at bat. He's hurt. He's giving me look.
He's hitting 240 this series.
Actually, 182, but
so he's doing way more.
Why would you say that?
I'm just honest. No, but I'm just saying. I just wanted to bust Brian's balls because I know he's been struggling. But at the end of the day, you make a mistake to him, he is going to make you pay. And he still scares me. 60% of Miguel Cabrera is better than 100% of most guys, Brian.
Yeah, look, he scares me too, but I don't know who to really call out for Hindsight 2020 this week. Because Brian, you were right. He hit one over the Green Monster, but Brian was right in
Brian has all the stats.
He hasn't hurt you that much. I mean, Game 2, he hits the home run, but you wind up coming back and winning that game. And then, really, that whole thing we were talking about in the dry run last week was with regards to who do you want up in a big situation, who don't you want to face. Last night in Game 3, Cabrera comes up with runners on first and third in the bottom of the 8th inning with 1 out, and he can't even put a bat on the ball. Granted, he hit the home run in Game 2. I just don't know. I don't know who should be called out for hindsight 2020
I just feel
week.
like just picking on Brian, but you know.
I mean, he is in a slump, but you know, he did have a crucial homer, and you look up, but you look up and down the Red Sox order, you see zeros too. You know, it's really like it's a pitching duel this series. It's really there's really no batting, so like I really don't take that statistic seriously because what did you say, 140?
He's hitting. Hang on, I closed it.
184.
182. I have.
182.
That's pretty good compared to every other batter in this series. So,
yeah, that's true because Jacoby Ellsbury's hitting 100. Shane Victorino is .091. So like,
yeah, that's probably one of the highest. Between
Johnny
the two
Peralta
teams.
is actually the highest. He's over 400. But yeah. But okay, fine, Brian. I guess you win that one because A, he's been struggling, and B, he didn't technically put it on Lansdowne Street.
No, he did not.
All right, fine, you win that one. Let's move on. We have another soundbite from last week. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Jimmy Graham's the best tight end.
I think he's better than Jimmy Graham. I think he
What?
is.
How can you say that?
Rob Gronkowski is a better tight end than Jimmy Graham. And now you'll
How
get your
so?
chance, Brian.
How?
You'll get your chance.
Explain.
Yeah, why don't you explain, Brian? I believe we saw Jimmy Graham firsthand this past Sunday. How many catches did he have, guys?
Well, Aqib Talib is the best corner.
At least he played in a game.
Before Brian answers, he had 0. I'm gonna answer Ashish's question. He had 0. How many times was he targeted?
I don't have the target number in front of me, but it must have been at least 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, he was covered really well. And again,
and Breeze threw an interception when he threw to Jimmy Graham.
Guys.
Yeah,
I have something that Ashish says.
Oh, you have something?
Let's hear it.
Did Graham have more yards receiving than Rob Gronkowski last year? Did he have more touchdowns than Rob Gronkowski last year?
I don't know. Do you?
I do. Yeah.
Ooh, you sneaky devil, Brian.
Okay, apparently
I
don't.
show you that.
Okay, yeah, apparently I don't. Fine, I looked this up. Rob Gronkowski statistically did not have as good a year as Jimmy Graham last year. Fine. But, Brian, you forgot to leave out how many games Rob Gronkowski missed last year. So had he played in all 16, he would have eclipsed Graham's number.
You don't know that.
I'm pretty sure I do. First of all, Rob Gronkowski, as I mentioned last week...
That's like saying Miguel is going to hit Lansdowne Street. Come on.
He almost did. If that wall wasn't there, if that light stanchion wasn't there. My point is... If. Okay, the point is, Brian, Jimmy Graham, I believe, played in 15 games last year. Rob Gronkowski played in 11, all right? So 4 fewer. Jimmy Graham only had 200 or so more receiving yards than Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski had about 2 more touchdowns than Jimmy Graham. So if you even it out, Rob Gronkowski actually had the better year when you take into account the number of games played.
Law of averages. Right?
Exactly.
So
just call me the professor.
I mean, look, Gronkowski and Graham, I think... I'd want them both on the team. Honest, I'd want them both on my team. If I had the choice between the two, I go Rob Gronkowski.
Would you rather have Drew Brees throwing to Rob Gronkowski or Tom Brady throwing to Jimmy Graham?
Now
that's a tricky question. That is, I want Tom Brady as my quarterback, although Drew Brees isn't far behind.
I mean, I take Tom Brady as the quarterback because it's Tom Brady. Drew Brees is really, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you got Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, all in the same conversation. And that's a tough one, but I mean, as far as tight ends go, I wouldn't mind the combination of Drew Brees and Rob Gronkowski either. I really wouldn't.
You look at the pass production for Brees and Graham compared to Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, though. Jimmy Graham and Drew Brees blow them out of the water. I feel like it's always a downfield pass to Graham, Drew Brees on the run to Jimmy Graham. I feel like always. And Jimmy Graham is such an athlete. He played basketball in college. He knows how to, work his way through tackles, and he's so strong, So I don't know who to tip my, to give my vote to, but maybe Graham. I would say Graham over Gronkowski.
So you'd say Graham and Brees, or rather Graham and Brady over, or you're just going tight end to tight end. You're not talking about you're not doing the combinations.
It's tough to do quarterbacks, man, because there's so you look at Saints offense, they have so many weapons compared to the Patriots right now. Even back in the day, Brady had Randy Moss, and he had Brandon Lloyd last year. He had a bunch of weapons. Aaron Hernandez, you can make a case for too. But I just feel like the Saints, they've been consistent every year, and Graham has gotten the touches. Gronkowski, of course, with the injuries, you don't know what Gronkowski's going to show up every year.
And as you said, Mark, at least Graham has played
a
right.
snap.
And I was just going to say, that's the most underrated stat in all of sports is games played. I mean, Gronkowski hasn't really been there. Whether or not that's something to do with Gronkowski and his body and his makeup, I don't know. Or maybe it has a little bit more to do with the off-the-field stuff. Either way, you want the guy that's in there for you and the guy that you can count on to be in there for you. Most underrated stat in all of sports is games played.
Right, no, and I'm glad you mentioned the off-the-field stuff because, before we go on and to our next segment where we'll have Paul Perillo joining us, we can ask him this. The off-field antics, the off-season stuff. You have a broken arm. You're Rob Gronkowski. You're going to Vegas and you're body slamming guys on stage. Probably not the smartest thing to do.
Gronk smash.
Yeah, a Gronk smash with a person's face. In the public eye where someone's probably going to videotape it. What's wrong with you?
I think if he was older and he got injured, I think it would be a total different story. I think he would be playing right now. He's young. He's into partying. He's into having fun. He really needs to grow out of his shoes and start playing and start prioritizing football as his major thing in life.
What has he done lately? He hasn't partied or anything. What has he done lately?
Yeah, because it's the season, Brian. You don't party in season. He parties during the off season.
Can he go to Vegas for a weekend? Oh, except the bye weekend?
I don't know what kind of pills he's taking for the injury. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
could be enjoying HGH or something.
13 minutes till the Red Sox game, guys.
Oh, I'm
the
so
countdown begins.
Forward to
no,
it.
it begun like 40 minutes ago.
And we do have a TV in here, which is nice because we can provide everyone with updates. Although I'm sure people will be listening to the game itself, but I'm just so excited.
Yeah,
stick around here. We'll give you updates.
Yeah. No need to listen to the game. Listen to us.
You can watch the game.
I'll do
play.
I'll do play-by-play.
Listen to us.
Yeah. We absolutely.
We'll give you the
play-by-play.
Well,
no, we won't actually do that.
We can have Perillo do play-by-play.
We're like the Red Sox red zone. Like we'll show you we'll tell you when they score. We'll tell you when a big pitch happens. Strikeout. We'll be the Red Sox red zone.
The point is, you don't have to change
the TV
station.
from over there.
No,
where you're
I
sitting,
can't.
Mark, if you guys could see where Mark is sitting, and I'm sure if you watch the video of this later, it's like he's at a very bad angle.
You won't be able to see me in the video where Brian's facing. You'll be able to see me in the video in our studio right now.
That's true.
Hi, Brian.
Exactly, because we got the two cameras. But, we've got the TV going, so we're going to be looking up periodically. So I just apologize in advance if, one of us is talking and we have a sudden break of thought. It's just like, blah,
actually,
blah, blah,
there's a
ha,
glare.
ha, ha.
There's a glare. I can see it.
You can see it?
I can
in the
see
reflect,
it.
so you'll be seeing everything backwards.
I can see it.
That's the worst.
Johnny Gillum's left.
So it'll be like an 0-1 count. It'll be an 0-1 count, and you'll think it's 1-0. But anyways, guys, we're up against another break. As I mentioned, we're going to be switching as the Red Sox game starts. Of course, we're going to be switching to some Patriots talk. Paul Perillo of Patriots Football Weekly and Patriots.com will be joining us on the other side. Stick around. You don't want to miss that. 1460 WXBR.
After school. Okay, I got it.
It's easy to take your world for granted. Most days go by without a whole lot of surprises. But what if a disaster strikes without warning? What if life as you know it has completely turned on its head? What if everything familiar becomes anything but? Would you be prepared? Before a disaster turns your family's world upside down, it's up to you to be ready. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Today. Learn how at www.ready.gov. Ready.gov. This message brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Hey, guess what day it is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
I'm working 2 jobs, and my husband works too. My kids go to school with your kids. I sit next to you at PTA meetings. We live right next door. We've been neighbors for years. You know my family and me pretty well, but here's one thing you don't know. I'm 1 out of every 6 Americans, and my family is struggling with hunger. Like you, we believe in this country. What's hard to believe is in the land of milk and honey, how many hardworking Americans have to choose between paying bills and feeding their families. This is a problem with a solution. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 7 meals for those around you quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
At risk of losing your home in a foreclosure? We can help. We'll deal with your bank, lower your principal. We'll buy you a pony, give you the ability to fly. We'll let you ride a unicorn. We'll give you a...
If you're facing foreclosure, who should you trust? The Hope Hotline is a free resource connecting you with HUD-approved housing counseling agencies available 24 hours a day who can give you the information and clarity you need. Call the Hope Hotline at 888-995-HOPE. That's 888-995-4673. Brought to you by NeighborWorks America and the Ad Council.
Today, you brushed your teeth. You skipped the floss. You combed your hair. You took the train. You did the crossword. You missed 22 across. You went to work. You had a meeting. You ate your lunch. You had another meeting. You wondered, how is anyone supposed to get any work done around here with so many meetings? You left the office. You took the train. You ate your dinner. You brushed your teeth. You did all the things that one normally does the day before a brutal EF5 tornado rips through town, leaving 30,000 people without power. You never know when the day before is the day before. Prepare for tomorrow at ready.gov/today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Sports Blast every Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m., 1460 WXBR.
And welcome back to the Sports Blast, 1460 WXBR. Joining us now is Paul Perillo from Patriots Football Weekly and Patriots.com. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for joining us. Really glad to have you on board with us tonight.
Not a problem.
So, Paul, the first thing I wanted to start by asking you is obviously the big news coming out of Foxborough today. Gerard Mayo had surgery on his pectoral muscle and is officially on season-ending injured reserve. What impact will his absence have on this team?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it is going to be significant, and I think it's very similar to the way I felt about Vince Wilfork. I think they're both obviously very, very good players, and they're very important players in the defense, but I think where you're going to feel it more is off the field. I think Mayo does so many different things for that defense, and I think he is certainly the glue that keeps it all together. He's the guy that, obviously wears the communication in the helmet, and he's the one that relays the signals from the sidelines in the huddle, and makes the defensive calls on the field and make sure that everybody is situated. And I'm not sure that you can put a price on that, and figure out exactly how that affects everybody. But I do think that they have, some personnel. It's not going to be the same. Mayo was out there for so much. He was a 3-down linebacker in every sense. He played, probably somewhere close to 95, somewhere between 95 and 100% of the snaps defensively when healthy, and they don't really have a guy that's going to go out there and fill all the different roles that he does in terms of pass coverage and stopping the run, but it'll test the depth. It's going to be interesting. It's a significant loss for him, no doubt. I think you're going to have to ask Jamie Collins to step into a bigger role and Dane Fletcher to step into a role, period, because he really hasn't had one on defense at all this season. So it's going to put a test on some of these guys for sure.
Hey, Paul, just sticking with the defense, have you noticed any significant difference in the play of the front seven since Wilfork went down? And who would a guy be that you might like to see step up into maybe a leadership position like Wilfork was?
Well, the first part of that question, absolutely. You've seen both teams run for well over 100 yards since Wilfork has been out. Cincinnati and New Orleans both. The one that was eye-opening to me was New Orleans because they really don't run the ball all that well. They were about 50 yards above their average. So certainly you've seen a hole in the middle of that defense, and that's to be expected. You have two rookies playing in defensive tackle spots, because it's not just Wilfork that's out. Tommy Kelly's been out, too, against New Orleans, and he's not he didn't practice today, so we'll see what happens on Sunday. I don't know if he's expected to play against the Jets either. So, yeah, you've certainly noticed that. In terms of the leadership, I do think they have some candidates. Devin McCourty has been a captain on that side of the ball. This year he is not, but he's still a good leader, and he's still a well-respected guy. And I also think a guy like Rob Ninkovich, who they just extended, during the course of the season. He's a guy that does and says all the right things all the time. A very prepared player. A matter of fact, I don't know if you guys caught this after the game on Sunday, but that last third down play that New Orleans had, where Drew Brees tried the naked bootleg, and Chandler Jones made the play, sort of almost got sucked in, but then he was able to regroup and use his athleticism. He made the play on Brees. Right. He credited Rob Ninkovich before that play with telling him to make sure that he was on the lookout for a play like that. He told him to make sure he stays home on the naked bootleg because Brees likes to do it. So that's the kind of stuff. That's leadership to me. That's the kind of thing that oftentimes go unnoticed. But when you don't have those kinds of players that are putting everybody, and that's where I think, like I said, I think they'll miss a guy like Mayo because I think he did those things. But Ninkovich is a guy that can do those things as well. And the other one would be Aqib Talib. All of his teammates have been talking about him the entire season, even through the spring at OTAs, all through minicamp and training camp, of just how much of a leader he's been. The problem with Aqib is he's hurt too, and we don't know, what his status is going to be going forward. So I do think there are some candidates to be leaders, just not sure which ones they're going to be. But, right now they're missing both of their defensive captains in Wilfork and Mayo.
You mentioned Aqib Talib there. Do you think that the injury do you think that it will impact him beyond this week? Because his reaction after he sustained the injury, he was pretty upset. It seemed like maybe he re-aggravated the same injury he had before, and potentially maybe he felt it and he understood what the injury was. He seemed upset. So do you think that that could play out a little longer for the season, him being absent?
Yeah, that's exactly how I read it. I think that the reaction to me spoke a lot more than anything that we saw. And then the fact that we saw him play with a hip problem last year. And, I don't have any information on the injury other than the fact that he wasn't out at practice today. I had some people email me in and tell me about hip flexors and hip injuries of that sort and what they take. But, who knows what to read into that. I'll say this. Last year, Aqib Talib was dealing with a hip problem, and to me, he was just an average, everyday cornerback. He helped them because the Patriots' pass defense was just terrible before he got here. And he gave them one more NFL cornerback. This year, he has been a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He has been out of his mind in the first 6 weeks. I think he's been far and away the Patriots' best player so far, and the guy that they, quite frankly, could least afford to lose beyond Tom Brady. And to have him playing at the level that he's been playing at and then not have him, I think, is going to be a significant loss. And if he's dealing with this hip injury, I'm afraid that you're going to see the guy we saw last year, which was just average, nothing special. And I think the Patriots defense, the improvement that it made so far in the first 6 games, to me was singularly the result of Aqib Talib playing at a level that was just above and beyond what anybody could have expected.
Hey, Paul, Mark Loisel here. Anywhere on Rob Gronkowski?
I wish I could tell you something.
His story is becoming bigger and bigger than it really needs to be. But there are rumors all over the place coming out about Rob and his relationship with his teammates, his coaches, his family, what have you. My question for you, Paul, is do you care about this story? And do you think it impacts the Patriots in a real way at all?
Yeah, I think it's a major story because I think their offense is just very pedestrian without him. And especially that's true in the red zone. You've seen them struggle, and they've been kicking a lot of field goals. And to me, first and goal at the 1-yard line against Cincinnati down 10 points, there's no doubt in my mind if they take a throw or two to Gronkowski, they score a touchdown.
Right.
And you can't, how many times has that happened? Who knows? You can't put a point total on the amount of attention that he'd be getting and maybe opening up things for some of these rookies who have been, struggling to be consistent. The Tompkins and Dobsons of the world, they've been struggling to sort of find their way with Gronkowski out there, it takes all kinds of attention away, and you don't know how that changes things. So, yeah, I think it's a huge story. Unfortunately, it's not one that any of us really can intelligently talk about in terms of when he's going to be back. I mean, he could be back Sunday. We might not see him again this year. I really don't know.
Yeah, it's
and I just don't know what he's dealing with physically and how much this is physical, how much of this is mental. I just don't have any insight into it. I mean, I've been reading all the stories that you guys are reading, and none of them has really painted a picture for me at all.
Hi, Paul. This is Brian Roach. The Jets are coming up this week. They've done better than many expected, but the Pats should beat them. What are some of the things you'd like to see from the Pats in Week 7 coming off a big victory against the Saints?
Yeah, I think you make a good point about the big victory against the Saints. I think that was huge in terms of momentum to bring that into this game with the Jets. And New York has been a little bit better than I think most of us thought they would be. I thought that they would be competitive defensively, and they certainly have been. But when they've not turned the ball over offensively, they've actually been pretty good. They've moved the ball reasonably well when they can protect it. Now, the problem is when you're dealing with a rookie quarterback like Geno Smith, you're going to be dealing with injuries. You're going to be dealing with turnovers. And certainly that's been a big problem. And that was the difference in the game here in Week 2. 13-10 game in the fourth quarter, he throws 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter. I mean, you think about that. He turned the ball over 3 times in the fourth quarter, and they still only lost by a field goal. So if they could have protected the ball and maybe, scored on one of those possessions, maybe we're looking at a whole different thing. So
True.
I think what I'd like to see from the Patriots, number one, is to take the ball away, something the defense has been very good at. I think they've done it 33 games in a row, which set some kind of record, longest streak right now in the NFL. So I want to see them take the ball away, and I want to see them be able to protect Tom Brady because, quite frankly, I haven't liked what I've seen the last couple of weeks. I think he's been sacked 9 times in the last 2 games. And that Jets front can be formidable. So I want to see them protect Tom Brady because they're going to have to throw the ball against that Jets defense. And I want to see the Patriots defense take the ball away.
Paul, just one more question before we let you go. Sticking with the end of the game last week, I'm going to pretend that the Patriots didn't come back and win on that last drive. There was a play. The Patriots had the ball 4th and 6 just in front of their 20-yard line with a little over 3 minutes to go. They still had 2 timeouts, and they went for it on 4th and 6. They wind up conceding 3 points, and they put themselves down by more than a field goal. Do you think that it was a good decision for Bill Belichick to do that, or did he put his team in maybe a more difficult position than they needed to be in?
No, I didn't like it. I didn't like the decision at all. As a matter of fact, I think they had all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't like the decision. What I thought, and I can understand if this was we asked Bill about it after the game, and he said it was 4th and 6, and we thought we could get it. If it had been 4th and 12, we probably would have punted.
Right.
I think what he was probably thinking and can't really say publicly is we were really holding on defensively. In the second half, New Orleans really moved the ball at will. They had scored on 3 of their 4 possessions to that point, and they had 2 touchdowns in their previous 3 drives. And I think what he was probably looking at is we have no Aqib Talib, we have no Gerard Mayo, and they're moving the ball right now. We're not going to be able to stop them and get the ball back. And I might have a better chance of getting a 4th and 6 than I do of getting a 3 and out. Now, as it turns out, the defense came up huge and forced 2 3 and outs. But I didn't like the call. I thought if you punt it, I'm a big believer in that first down that offense needs to get, to me, is a lot easier to get if you're playing at the other team's 25-yard line as opposed to your own 25-yard line.
Right.
New Orleans doesn't have to worry about turning the ball over in that situation. If they do, well, yeah, they're going to kick themselves because they cost themselves a field goal, but the other team's still 80 yards away from being able to do damage. When you're on your own 25, you're not just worried about getting a first down. You're worried about making sure you protect the ball, too, and I think that shortens your playbook a little bit and whatnot. Now, like I said, they got lucky. Sean Payton played into their hands and tried to run the clock out instead of trying to get a first down. And to me, that was a big, big mistake. I think to expect New Orleans to have run the ball 5 out of 6 plays on those 2 drives, to me, I would never have thought that. Not an offense like that. That's what teams, quite frankly, that's what teams like the Jets would do. They don't have a quarterback that they trust, and they're probably just going to run the ball to try to run out the clock. But that's not what New Orleans would do. I agree with you guys. If that's how you feel about the punt, I would not. I would have punted the ball, used my timeouts. I think they would have had to get two first downs with the timeouts and the 2-minute warning. So,
right.
I think he made it a lot more difficult than it needed to be, but it worked out. So to me, it's one of the biggest wins they've had in a couple of years.
Absolutely no doubt about it, and how fitting they play the Jets this Sunday, so we'll see if they in fact do that. Paul Perillo...
Well, they will. I mean,
they probably will.
I wouldn't let Geno Smith throw the ball in that situation either.
Well, Paul Perillo from Patriots Football Weekly and Patriots.com, we really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much for joining us.
I appreciate it, guys. Anytime.
All right, take care, Paul. Yeah, he makes a good point. With Geno Smith as your quarterback, you're probably going to do anything you can to fight and claw for points against the New England Patriots.
Yeah, you're talking about a mediocre quarterback versus Drew Brees, So, and that offensive line for the Jets has been okay, but the Patriots might make them struggle this week.
Yeah, I mean, that play just really ticked me off last week. And I mean, at the time when you're watching the game real time and you don't know that the Patriots are going to come back with a 70-yard drive in a minute 13 seconds with no timeouts, you punt the football. Like, that's all I could think was punt. Yeah. What are they doing there? If they don't get this, they are conceding 3 points and putting themselves down by 4, so you can't kick a field goal to even tie the game.
Yep.
Punt the football.
Yeah.
Give your defense a chance. They wind up getting 2 3-and-outs.
With all the injuries, I mean, how can you expect?
I do understand the thought process, but I think that in that situation, you are conceding 3 points.
You're conceding 3 points, and you have to look at what your offense is giving you.
Actually, they could have conceded even more.
Yeah, it's true.
Possibly.
They could have given up a touchdown and been completely out of that game.
Now,
they could have been down by 8.
Now, granted,
well, that's not completely 2-point conversion tie.
But it makes it. The thing is, it makes it so much more difficult, and that was my problem with what Bill Belichick decided to do on that play. I thought he put his team in a more difficult situation than they needed to be in.
And their offense looked good early in the game in the first half. Obviously on one of those touchdown drives, Tom Brady actually had 7 straight completions on one of those touchdown drives. It wasn't the same offense in the fourth quarter. They were struggling. Dobson, as usual, was dropping balls. My little cousin calls him Dropson. So, I'm with her on that. So, I mean, in that case, I think you have to punt the ball. It just makes sense. 4th and 6, I can understand 4th and 1, 4th and inches, 4th and 6. Absolutely not. I'm not feeling it.
Belichick said if it was a little bit longer of a play, they probably wouldn't have went for it. I thought 4th and 6 was too long to go for it.
But as Perillo said, it worked out in the end for the Patriots, and they are
That's
now
all
5-1.
right?
And it worked out in a glorious fashion too.
It did.
Exciting to watch.
Best game of the year. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we are going to go to one of our other segments called 5 Questions, which was actually pretty popular last week, and we'll see what Mark has in store for us. He is hosting this week. Don't go anywhere. 1460 WXBR.
At risk of losing your home in a foreclosure, we can help. We'll deal with your bank, reduce your payments, lower your principal. We'll buy you a new car, give you the ability to fly. We'll bring your childhood dog back from the dead. We'll name a church after you. We'll arrange a meet and greet with a Hall of Famer. We'll let you pilot a blimp. We'll carve your name into the moon with lasers. We'll make you taller. We'll give you today's winning lottery number.
If you're facing foreclosure, there are lots of companies promising to help you. All of the information can be really confusing, but who should you trust? The Hope Hotline. The Hope Hotline is a free resource connecting you with HUD-approved housing counseling agencies, available 24 hours a day, who understand your situation. Since 2007, they've helped over 5 million people get the clarity and information they need. Call the Hope Hotline at 888-995-HOPE. That's 888-995-4673. Brought to you by NeighborWorks America and the Ad Council.
It takes 12 years to create a graduate. It takes about the same time to create a dropout. The difference between a child becoming one or the other could be you. Studies prove that reading to a child regularly dramatically improves reading skills. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are 4 times as likely to graduate. So United Way is calling for 1 million volunteers over the next 3 years. We're asking you to step up, make a pledge, tutor a child who needs help, mentor a kid who needs someone on their side, volunteer to read to children. Make a difference. Because when a child advances, we all advance. Entire communities improve. The path to success or failure starts long before graduation day. And the difference between a graduate and a dropout could be you. Be a reader, tutor or mentor. Give, advocate, volunteer. Live United. Take the pledge. Go to liveunited.org now. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
You might know me, I'm 50 Cent. You may follow my tweets, my Facebook friends. Odds are fewer than 6 degrees separate us. We're that close. What's crazy is 1 in 6 don't know where their next meal is coming from. These are your co-workers, your neighbors, your friends. Hunger is too close for us to ignore. So visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank to see how you can make a difference. From one close friend to another, let's do this. I'm 50 Cent, and together we are Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
All in together now. We can make it better now. Come on, can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We'll rope it up,
cause we know how to jump.
we'll roll it out,
Cause we know how to skate.
we'll cut it down,
Cause we know what to eat.
we'll swap it out.
We eat healthy stuff.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
Yeah, well come on.
Today's a good day to grab your kids and hang out with them for an hour. Dance, walk, play a sport, or cook a healthy meal. Because just moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your child healthier.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We'll ball it up,
Cause we know how to hoop.
we'll mess around,
Cause we know how to play.
we'll drop it down,
Cause we know how to dance.
we'll veg it up.
Veggie night and day.
Can we do it?
Search We Can online to find doable tips and activities that you can use every day to keep you and your kids healthy. Remember, that's We Can. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
It's time for 5 questions
5 is right out. You don't have to answer that question. I'll answer the question.
on 1460 WXBR.
Thank you for all your cooperation.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Blast, 1460 WXBR. Remember, you can call us at 508-588-9927. That's 508-588-WXBR. And you can also check us out on Twitter at 1460 Sports Blast. Let's go right ahead to one of our next segments called 5 Questions. Mark, take it away.
Yep, 5 questions with Mark this week. All right, boys, I'm going to put you all on the spot. After this weekend's historic events, who in your mind is the king of New England? David Ortiz or Tom Brady?
Tom Brady.
Ortiz.
Tom Brady. What, Brian?
Yes! I knew this would happen.
Look, okay, can I go first? Can I go first?
Isn't it Tom and Nino? I don't know.
Okay, can I go first? Okay, first of all, Brian, I'm not taking anything away from David Ortiz, but Tom Brady will go down as the greatest at his... And I'm not saying David Ortiz won't go down as the greatest DH of all time. I mean, he will. But to me, the quarterback is a bigger position than the designated hitter in baseball. Also, Tom Brady's been here his entire career. David Ortiz came here in 2003. 7-8 years into his career already? Right. You know, I don't want to add the fact that he may or may not have used something. I think that hurts his argument a little bit.
He broke an 86-year drought.
Not by himself. I'm pretty sure he had Pedro.
Who had the 2 walk-offs?
He did. I'm pretty sure he had Pedro. I'm pretty sure he had Pedro and Schilling and Manny and Dave Roberts to steal second and Kevin Millar to draw that walk. He had help.
Yeah. So
Tom Brady did too. With
Brady has
with the defense when he won the 3 Super Bowls.
He hasn't won since, has he? Has he won since? Has he won since?
No, he hasn't won since. I'm not saying. I think Ortiz.
He hasn't won.
I love Ortiz. I think that the guy is clutch when it matters most. We've seen Tom Brady sort of crap his pants a few times in the last few postseasons. I don't dispute that they're both sort of, maybe one's the king and one's, I don't know, a prince or something. Yeah. But I figure whoever...
Can they both?
I gotta go David Ortiz.
Can't we all
just the clutch.
Coexist?
King 1A, King 1B.
The individual efforts of David Ortiz in clutch situations, because football's more of a team sport.
Yes.
But I think that Tom Brady, for all that he's done for the Patriots in New England, I think that the moments that have happened under David Ortiz, when we're watching him in big moments, those moments have been
epic,
so thrilling, unbelievable to watch.
So what? We have 1 Brady and 2 Ortizes.
Exactly.
All right.
Ding ding.
All right.
Next question.
This one's interesting. Out of all the male athletes in the professional sporting world, who has the most attractive wife?
Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Although, have you seen KG's wife?
Thank you.
Or
Tony Romo's
Ryan Tannehill, Lauren
Brad
Tannehill,
Stevens,
Lauren Tannehill.
Brad.
Tony Romo has dated a few good-looking
That's
ladies.
That's right. Didn't he?
He
took Jessica Simpson to the beach
Simpson,
the day before the NFC divisional round or something a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I'd have to go with Tom, man. Giselle.
I'm going with Brad Stevens.
Really?
Really? I didn't actually see her wife. You're the only one of us who's seen her, Brian. So I mean, I don't know. Until we actually see what Brad Stevens' wife looks like.
You know what? I'm changing my answer. I don't know if you guys. This is going off a little bit, but Mike Fisher,
I like
hockey
this.
player for the Nashville Predators, married to Carrie Underwood. I think she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
So
Carrie Underwood is
Mike
gorgeous.
Fisher is going to be my pick for this one.
That's a good call. All right, so if you had to start a franchise in any city, quickly, who would be your starting quarterback, running back, wide receiver, and tight end?
All 4 of them?
All 4 of them, very quickly.
Okay, starting
Cam
quarterback.
Newton as my quarterback.
All right.
Okay.
Brian,
all
you
right,
start
Brian,
first.
okay,
Go
fine,
ahead.
Brian, you go first.
All right, Cam Newton as my quarterback. Running back, LaShawn McCoy. Tight end, Jimmy Graham.
Hey, Jimmy Graham.
Let's see.
And wide receiver.
Wide receiver, Demaryius Thomas.
There you go.
Wide receiver. I'm going backwards because I can't remember, but wide receiver Calvin Johnson.
Yes, thank you.
Good call.
Tight end Rob Gronkowski.
Okay,
Quarterback.
looks like Dave and I are on the same page.
Quarterback, I go Peyton Manning right now. If I can just pick whoever I want in the league, I go Peyton Manning if I'm getting the core around him, like we're talking about. And running back, Adrian Peterson.
Oh my God, Dave and I literally have the same answer. I went Johnson, Peterson, Manning, Gronkowski. That was literally my team, and I'm not at all surprised because Dave and I both.
And I
disagree
did
with
not
Brian
give you guys
routinely.
the questions before this, so
No, this is completely we're hearing this for the first
we have
time.
no idea
Wow.
what Mark is about to ask us.
Yeah, here we go.
That
Here we
is
go. There you go,
fantastic.
David, right here. That's the right team right there. You got it.
All right, moving on. Aside from all the major sports, baseball, football, basketball, what other professional sport would you want to be a part of?
Curling. Curling in the Winter Olympics is got to be my guilty pleasure.
I love that too.
I can't believe it's not
I
on
can't
in
watch
prime
it.
time.
I can't watch it for 5 hours
What
straight.
about cricket?
But if USA's playing Canada, I'll watch that
that's just
24/7.
baseball.
Honestly, curling to me when it's 4 a.m. during the Winter Olympics has got to be the greatest thing that you can possibly put on.
All right.
I want to play curling with you, Dave.
Okay, so I see the theme of winter sports. I'm going to blow all your guys' minds. Bobsledding.
Bobsledding.
Wow.
That's a lot of fun. Have you seen
Jamaican
that?
bobsled
Jamaican
team.
bobsled team? No, but I'm serious. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
It looks like so much fun.
It's intense.
Cool Runnings
It looks
is one
like
of my
so much fun.
favorite
I love
movies.
Cool Runnings. I love John Candy.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
isn't
fantastic.
Dougie Doug in that too?
Yeah.
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 I mean, like that to me looks like a hell of a lot of fun, and I would want to be on a bobsled team.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, moving on again. Changing it up a little. What is your favorite sports movie and why?
Miracle. Because I'm a hockey guy, number
Yeah,
one. But
hockey.
number two, it's definitely one of the best sports movies ever made. And Kurt Russell as Herb Brooks gave me chills in his pregame speech when they went up against the Soviets. Awesome movie. It's one of the few movies that can really get me emotional. That and Cinderella Man.
Okay, I would have to say Fever Pitch. No, I'm just kidding. I'd have to say recently,
that's a
like
good
of
movie.
all time, yeah, of all, yeah, I don't know about that. Jimmy Fallon and Drew Barrymore were okay. It's just because it was about the Red Sox. But I'd say all time, probably The Sandlot. I love that since I was a kid. But in terms of recently,
that movie was great at Fenway, by the way.
S'mores. You want
was.
some s'mores?
But in terms of recently, The Fighter. Oh my God, Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale stole the show, man. He was brilliant. The Fighter.
I am sensing a bromance for you right now. A man crush on those two actors.
Mark Wahlberg and Christian
Oh,
Bale.
absolutely. I'm not even afraid to admit
Hey,
it.
we're
I
not
love
far
Marky
from
Mark.
Mark Wahlberg.
I
Let's
love
just
Marky
calm
Mark.
down
Yeah,
here.
Marky Mac over here. And come on, Batman. How can you hate on Batman?
Seriously.
I think Mark Wahlberg's all right. Christian Bale was great in that movie, too.
Which one, Batman or The Fighter?
Christian Bale was way better in The Fighter than he was in any Batman movie.
He's
Let's
going to be
serious
better.
there.
All right. Christian Bale's going to be better than Ben Affleck in any Batman
Oh,
movie.
I'm so upset about Ben Affleck being the next Batman. I am going to boycott that movie.
Brian, did you hear my
Did we
question?
get an answer
What was
from
your
him?
question?
Best sports movie.
What is your favorite sports movie and why?
Remember the Titans.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
Denzel.
Wow, that's a good one. All right.
Okay, why? He didn't say why.
Yeah, why? Yeah.
No,
I mean,
why?
Denzel Washington
Didn't he say
Denzel
Denzel
Washington.
is the greatest actor
It's just
alive, in my opinion.
What about Daniel Day-Lewis?
not gonna
Daniel
lie.
Day-Lewis.
The first time I saw it, I cried. So that's why.
Yeah, I'll admit, since you admitted, the first time I saw Miracle,
What about-
I jumped and cheered. I didn't
Yeah,
cry.
I cried during the
Cinderella
Sandlot,
Man.
so-
I cried.
What about It Can Happen? It Can Happen.
Oh yeah.
Angels in the
Oh,
Outfield.
Field
Yeah,
of
Angels
Dreams.
in
What
the
about Field of Dreams?
Field of Dreams.
The Rookie with Dennis Quaid. That's
Perfect
a good
game.
one.
Rookie of the
Perfect
Year.
game.
Rookie of the Year, the one where the kid breaks his arm and throws like
Perfect
100
game.
miles an hour. That's a great movie.
Mighty Ducks. I mean, while we're on
Oh
the Disney
my God,
movies.
Mighty Ducks.
I like the second one. The second one.
D2, the Mighty Ducks. You just like it because Keenan's in it.
where they became Team USA.
Hey,
Yeah,
go,
exactly.
hey,
And,
go,
yeah,
go,
so
hey,
somehow
go,
going
hey,
from
go, go.
Team USA to the Ducks is better than just being Team USA.
No, those movies made no sense. The first one, they were a Pee Wee hockey team.
Yeah.
The second
Yes.
one, Team USA.
Yes.
Coach
Third-
Bombay is a big-time lawyer who gets pulled over for DUI. And he has to...
In the third movie, they were a JV hockey team at a high school. So the Team USA couldn't even make the varsity squad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's the 5 questions with Mark today.
That was 5? That was
Yeah.
5
That's
already?
really-
I thought
that was 5.
flew
I
by.
guess-
We could honestly do the whole show on this.
Honestly, like, I would love to just keep this on Movie Talk. Like, seriously, like, I hated the third Mighty Ducks movie. It was just
I
crap.
never saw it.
Oh, good. You
That's
didn't miss
how,
anything.
That's how bad I thought it was
You
going to be.
like D3?
No, I like D1 and D2.
Really?
Like, I liked it when they were Pee Wee, hockey
What's the
team.
Academy?
What's that? Sorry?
The Academy?
I haven't seen
In,
it.
in the
Oh,
movie.
I have no idea, but I didn't like D3
yeah.
because Gordon Bombay wasn't in it.
Yeah, it was some new guy. It was
Yeah.
that other
They
coach.
got rid of Emilio.
And, you know,
I love that part where he like takes out the box of the old jerseys and just rips them out and shows
Oh, you
them.
mean Hans?
No.
When he comes back?
No, it was the coach. He's
Yeah,
just like,
I can't
I'm
remember
gonna
the
be
third
one.
Bombay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
turn
yeah.
around, gonna be Bombay. I'm gonna let you guys be the Mighty Ducks. No more.
I remember
I
that.
forget what they were.
You know, and a lot of people say that Charlie was their favorite character. I think Averman was my favorite character.
Yeah.
The
Averman.
Dave Meister.
Hey,
yeah, the
go,
man.
hey, go,
Hey,
go,
I loved
Averman,
I loved
shut up.
Goldberg, honestly, and I was
Goldberg.
a goalie when I played. But
I'm not a skater. I'm a goalie, Charlie.
Goldberg. Guys, I swear it wasn't me. It was me.
Great
Oh
movies.
man, just reflecting on
times.
childhood movies and childhood memories. But yeah, no, definitely D1 and 2 were the best. Not
But-
to take anything away from
You know,
it.
it's funny that we're talking about the Mighty Ducks right now because the next guest that we have
Yeah, I
coming
was just
up
gonna
is,
say.
is Dan Cagen, and he's a
he's a hockey
beat
guy.
writer for the Boston Bruins at Metrowest Daily.
So it's like leading right into the hockey
What?
talks.
Let me
What a
just tell you
random
really
segue.
quickly. The sequel to The Sandlot was awful.
Yeah,
Wait,
I never
there was a
saw it.
sequel?
Yeah, girl pitcher.
Sandlot 2.
That's like the Karate Kid 4.
Oh my goodness!
Actually,
It's like
Smith was pretty good in that. Smith's
No,
Yeah.
that wasn't 4 though. There was
Oh.
a 1, 2, 3, then a 4th with a girl, and then Will Smith's
The girl
son
was
in
Hilary Swank,
the most
by the
recent
way.
one.
Oh.
The girl was
Right,
Hilary
okay,
Swank.
I remember
Ralph
that now.
Macchio was the one in the first 3. So,
Good call.
anyways, we're up against a break and we gotta go. But when we come, we can talk about this all day. When we come back, we'll have Dan Cagen of the Metrowest Daily News. You don't want to miss it. 1460 WXBR.
For nearly 25 years and well over 1,000 wedding videos later, Televisuals is the most respected name in event video production in southeastern Massachusetts. I've been telling you about Ron Van Dam's Televisuals for a long time. He's been producing wedding videos since 1990. So let's recap. No cameras in your face, no bright lights, no annoying interviews. They capture everything without being obvious. Crisp digital video and sound. Weddings, photo collages, web and YouTube video advertising. An accredited Better Business Bureau member since 1990. Rated A+ for over 20 years. The most respected name in video production in this region. The most experienced, the lowest prices. Televisuals wedding videos and video production. Televisuals.com. 508-846-4556. 508-846-4556. Enough said.
Hi, I'm Al Roker. Let me tell you what's happening in your neck of the woods. Right now, 1 in 6 Americans don't know where their next meal is coming from. These are our neighbors, friends, our co-workers, but we can do something about it. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find the local food bank in your community. I'm Al Roker, and together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Cagen Cleaning Services Incorporated has been knocking out dirt and germs for over 57 years. Located in the City of Champions, Cagen Cleaning Service does it all. They specialize in the cleaning and maintenance of laboratory and healthcare facilities while dealing with delicate space and equipment. Cagen has over 45 years of experience working with banks and other financial institutions. Their staff is highly trained and educated to work with all the latest equipment to be able to meet all of your needs. They also provide a 24-hour answering service. For a free inspection and proposal, call 508-587-2287 today. That's 508-587-2287. Cagen is located at 55 Highfield Drive in Brockton. No one cleans it like the Cagen. 508-587-2287. 508-587-2287.
Time now for your WXBR Sports Blast headline.
After a thrilling Game 2 where Ortiz tied it in the 8th and Saltamacchia hit a walk-off single, the Red Sox were led by Mike Napoli's homer and John Lackey's postseason high 8 strikeouts in Game 3 of the ALCS against the Tigers with a 1-0 victory last night. Right now, it is scoreless in the bottom of the second inning in Game 4. The NLCS, it looks like we're heading back to St. Louis. The Dodgers are won 6-3 tonight with a couple home runs from former Red Sox Adrian Gonzalez and Carl Crawford. After trailing 27-23 late into the fourth quarter Sunday night, Tom Brady completed a pass to Ken Brout Tompkins with 5 seconds left in the game. The Patriots and lifted the Patriots to the 30-27 victory. The 5-1 Pats will head to the Meadowlands to take on the Jets at 1 p.m. this Sunday without the likes of Jared Mayo as he was placed on IR this week. Old friend Paul Pierce put up 4 points and collected 10 rebounds as the Celtics fell to the Brooklyn Nets 82-80 last night. Courtney Lee led the C's with 14 points off the bench as the Green Team falls to 1-4 in the preseason. They are currently trailing the Raptors 60-58. After starting the season 3-0, the Bruins have lost 2 straight, including a 3-2 loss to the Detroit Red Wings Monday night, where the Bees finished 0-5 on the power play. They will face the Florida Panthers and old teammate Tim Thomas tomorrow night at 7 in Sunrise, Florida, to start a 3-game road trip. Those are your Sports Blast headlines. Be sure to check out our website at www.sportsblast.co and tweet us at 1460 Sports Blast. That's at 1460 Sports Blast. I'm Brian Roach. Don't go anywhere. The Sports Blast continues right now.
The Sports Blast with Ashish Sharma.
He's like Rain Man with these stats, man. I don't know how you whip that out.
Brian Roach.
You really wanted Josh Hamilton? Too many on-field issues.
David Pollard.
He does throw for touchdowns, but he doesn't throw for a lot of yardage.
And Mark Lozelle.
I also think he might have had some chicken and beer before he had that press conference.
Wrapping up your week in Boston sports every Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m.
All right, welcome back to the Sports Blast 1460 WXBR. We have joining us now on the phone lines Dan Cagen, Bruins beat writer for the Metrowest Daily News. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing great, guys. How about yourselves?
We're doing great over here. Glad to have you on board. Dan, I wanted to start by asking you about Louis Eriksson. He got his second goal against the Red Wings on Monday, and have you liked what you've seen from him so far this season?
I've liked it a little more these the last couple games. I thought early on it's been a transition, still is a transition really for him. Coming from the Dallas system where they kind of let you roam around a little bit more, I guess, as a winger. Whereas with Julian, they want him to just kind of go a straightforward up and down, stay in your system guy. But he's looked a little better. I thought these last two, kind of a fluky goal on Monday, but he's definitely starting to show some signs that he could be, the guy that we all kind of expected him to be when he got here.
Hey Dan, it's Dave Pollard here. It's pretty early in the season right now. You can't really obviously put a heartbeat on the Bruins to see how they're going to do for the rest of the season. But in the early goings, what are some of the things that you're looking for the Bruins to improve on?
Yeah, well, right now it's the hard talk is would be finishing. So many chances on Monday. I mean, that was a game you really felt like they were in control of most of the way. A lot of offense at zone time, and they only get 2 goals past the backup goaltender. 5 power plays, a minute 54, 5 on 3, and they just can't finish. They got, a guy like Agilma shooting high, and those are things that'll come. They have, the top 6 forwards. It's a pretty good group. They feel pretty confident there. You would expect that to continue in other areas. I mean, defensively, they've been, for the most part, solid. Not too many breakaways. Tuukka's been great. Penalty kill's been real solid. It's mostly just, kind of finishing on these chances that are, just kind of bugging them. It's a problem we've had for a couple of years here. We've seen for a couple of years here. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes together as guys get into more, get to know each other a little better. Talking about Eriksson and Ginla, the third line, some new pieces there. So that's kind of the main area right now. I think, would be a little bit of a concern.
Hey, Dan, Mark Loisel here. The Bruins still have a little room for improvement, I guess you could say. So who is the guy that, in your opinion, needs to step up for this team to get the offense back on track a bit?
Yeah, I mean, Ginla, like I mentioned earlier, he's kind of got he's had the most shots on the team. I think it's 19 shots on goal through 5 games, no goals, 1 assist. But, he's that's just, one guy. I mean, you look at, Bergeron has had the one shorthanded goal in the first game, not much sense. He's still kind of, I think, feeling his way back a little bit from those injuries. So, I mean, I guess if it's one guy, maybe one of those two, but it doesn't seem like there's too much concern, especially about Bergeron. They know, obviously, what they have there. Ginla, he's got the pedigree with Calgary, and coming through so many slumps before. But it would probably be one of those two if you're looking at one particular person that needs to maybe step up a little bit. Would probably be in those areas.
Do you think that maybe Brad Marchand is a guy that needs to step up as well? I mean, he's played, in my opinion, pretty sloppy in the first couple of games. Few unforced turnovers, and he's on the third line right now. Do you expect him to stay on the third line until he rights the ship, or what do you think Claude's going to do there?
Yeah, I would think he'll be. I should have mentioned earlier. Now that you think about it, I was kind of focused on Ginla, but yeah, Marchand definitely. I wrote about that the other day, and he's been a little bit all over the place. It's been a little funny how he's kind of lost his way in the preseason, even going back to that first game, and it seems to carry over to the regular season. And I would imagine that until we see him really have a strong game, getting shots on goal and maybe even a goal or two finishing. I thought he was better on Monday night, playing more up and down and not kind of going all over the place in the offensive zone and in the neutral zone too. So yeah, absolutely. If he can get going a little bit, I would imagine he'll be back up there with Bergeron and with Eriksson soon enough. They're not going to stay with Smith for too much longer, I wouldn't think.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Dan. And just going back to the power play, it was 0 for 5 on Monday. You mentioned the 5-on-3 that they had for an extended period of time in the third period against Detroit. Do you think it's, I know you said it was finishing, but do you think there's anything else, like technically, that the Bruins are doing wrong, or was Detroit really keeping the chances not to the caliber that the Bruins wanted to get?
Sure, yeah. I think they were overpassing a little bit, absolutely. And it wasn't just that game. We've seen that before. They certainly have enough weapons, and I think they have some guys that are on the point now that are a little new to doing that on this team. Krug obviously did in the playoffs, but this is kind of the first regular season. Boychuk's back there now because we've got Chara in the front. So it's a little bit of an adjustment. I think they're trying to fit in some new pieces there as well, guys into new roles. So the overpassing has been definitely an issue, guys not taking shots when they have the opportunity to, because a Krug and a Boychuk, their two best weapons are their shots. Especially Krug is the accuracy, and Boychuk, we know how hard he can shoot. So once they figure that out a little bit, you would imagine we'll see some better results. But power play's been a struggle for so long here. Maybe we won't either. So.
Do you think that Krug's going to sort of become a guy who's... I know David Krejci's your quarterback on the power play, but do you think that Torrey Krug is a guy at the point with that accurate shot? I mean, he puts the puck on net more than I think any Bruins defenseman I've seen in at least recent history. The guy pulls the trigger. Do you see him continuing to play a big role on that power play? Yeah, and I think he's probably their most natural guy at that position. Krejci can do it. But it seems to be he's maybe a little bit better on the wall
But Krug, it's what he's done for so long, going back to college, going back to the AHL, and he just seems like a natural fit for that kind of position that they've been looking at for so long. We go back to the Weidmans and the Derek Morrises, the Joe Corvos, the Caberlet, of course.
Yep.
And guys that just haven't fit that role. Krug has everything that you'd want there. Maybe a little smaller, of course, but he has the accurate shot. He can get it on net so well. It's a pretty hard shot too, especially for his size, and he can move the puck. So he's got what you want back there. It's just a matter of getting all the pieces together and making sure that he makes the right decisions. Sometimes he can be a little cautious maybe with the puck, and sometimes you just want him to just go with it and play naturally. And I think that'll come as the season goes on. Like I said, we're 2 weeks into this thing, and a month from now, 2 months from now, we'll see where we are.
All right, Dan Cagen, Bruins beat writer for the Metrowest Daily News. Dan, thank you so much for taking the time to come on with us today.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Anytime.
All right, thanks, Dan. All right, guys. So, yeah, Dan Cagen talking a little bit about the Bruins there.
Hockey.
I like what he said about Brad Marchand and Torrey Krug there. I mean, they're two guys to me that they're on the flip side right now because Brad Marchand hasn't played that well. He's been really sloppy. He's had tons of unforced turnovers, in his own zone, and that's something that the Bruins they don't do it. It's Claude Julien must have been pulling his hair out when Marchand made a few of the plays that he did. So I don't think it's a surprise that he's down on the third line and Riley Smith's up on the second line right now. But you got to expect Brad Marchand's going to be on that second line long term with Patrice Bergeron and Louis Eriksson. Yeah. He's the guy that you want on that line, and you want him producing at a high level somewhere. We've seen it from him before, so he can do it. And I think he's really just the guy that he's the one person right now. He's got to step up.
I agree. And Brad Marchand is such a spark plug on this team. He's basically the Dustin Pedroia of the Bruins. When he's got it going, it seems like they've got it going completely. And, I don't think it's going to last long. I agree with you. I think he's going to jump back up onto that second line, onto the Bergeron line, and really make some noise. He's just slumping right now, but it shouldn't be anything that lasts too long.
Yeah, I really think that, the addition to Louis Eriksson and the addition to Iginla will outweigh in the end over Tyler Seguin and Nathan Horton, who is injured right now.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah,
I mean, I stand by what I said a week ago when I was talking about that trade. Louis Eriksson's a huge step up from Tyler Seguin. I do not like Tyler Seguin. I don't like his off-ice antics, and I don't think that he plays a Bruins style of a game.
Yeah, he's not that physical.
He's not physical. He doesn't go into the dirty areas. He's going to be perfectly fine scoring 60 points down in Dallas where they're going to let him stand in front of the net and snipe all day long. Yeah, he'll put up 30 goals, but I guarantee you, with the system that the Bruins have up here, we are better off with Louis Eriksson than Tyler Seguin.
Same reason why they traded away Phil Kessel.
In that trade, I feel like Eriksson's the gold, but Riley Smith has stepped up big. I think he is a very key part of this trade. He's like a Chris Kelly, Daniel Payet kind of player, scrappy player, fights for loose pucks, finishes checks, has great passing, great stick handling. He just does what Claude Julien wants him to do.
Yeah, and he's a guy that actually has to watch out for his job when Carl Soderberg comes back. I mean, and that speaks to the Bruins' depth. He's a young player, Riley Smith, and he's coming up from the Dallas organization. But he's on that third line with Chris Kelly and Jordan Caron right now. And what you're looking at there is when Carl Soderberg comes back, there's a decision that needs to be made there. Who do you take out? Do you leave Soderberg on the bench? Do you take Riley Smith out, or do you take Jordan Caron out? Because Caron, to me, has had a great beginning of the season. Chris Kelly, he's improved that third line. He's a veteran guy on that third line with two young wingers. But I think that right now, the odd man out, unfortunately, is Riley Smith. And he has played well, but I think he's the odd man out in that situation.
So, it's a tough call.
Just an update. The Red Sox, Jake Peavy has just loaded the bases with a walk, and Jacoby Ellsbury made a diving catch to probably save a couple runs.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
No. There's only one out in the inning.
Not that that's
Austin
good timing.
Jackson is now up with the
not
bases
that that's
nothing,
good timing.
Still? 0-0?
0-0, yeah.
0-0. Not that that's good timing of any sort, but we do have to take a break. So I know all of us are going to jump into the other room and watch this at bat anxiously for the next 4 minutes until we come back. I'm sure you guys also want to check it out, so don't go anywhere. 1460 WXBR.
All in together now. We can make it better now. Come on, can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We rope it up.
'cause we know how to jump.
We'll roll it out,
'cause we know how to skate.
we'll cut it down,
'Cause we know what to eat.
we'll swap it out.
We eat healthy stuff.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
Yeah, well come on.
Today's a good day to grab your kids and hang out with them for an hour. Dance, walk, play a sport, or cook a healthy meal. Because just moving a little and eating better every day can help make you and your child healthier.
Can we do it?
Yeah, you know that we can.
We'll ball it up,
'Cause we know how to hoop.
we'll mess around,
'Cause we know how to play.
we'll drop it down,
'Cause we know how to dance.
we'll veg it up,
Veggie night and day.
Can we do it?
Search We Can online to find doable tips and activities that you can use every day to keep you and your kids healthy. Remember, that's We Can. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
Ranger Station.
Yeah, hi. I'd like to report a bear sighting in the forest. 1 second, I'm having a smoke. Next thing I know, I'm face to face with Smokey Bear. Wow. And he told me it only takes one spark to start a wildfire.
Did you know 9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans?
I had no idea.
That's why Smokey's famous and you're not. If you see someone in danger of starting a wildfire, step in and make a difference. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Let me try.
Okay, just remember what I showed you.
Yep. There was a bunny who had one big ear and another big ear. They looped, made a bow, and the bunny hopped away. I did it!
Oh, good job, kiddo. Now let's tie your other shoe.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is the sound of a brand new outdoor grill being hurled off a 20-story building. Now a stylish glass coffee table. An electric guitar. These are the things you could enjoy, all cast into oblivion. Because when you throw away money on wasted electricity, you throw away everything you could have bought with it. Visit EnergySavers.gov and get tips on how to save energy and money. Then do things like switch to Energy Star light bulbs or Energy Star appliances, and you could save hundreds of dollars a year. So this doesn't happen to the recliner you've had your eye on, or this to the treadmill on your wish list, or this to the shiny new bike your kid's been asking for. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
T-minus 15.
We will go out with the bang.
Time now for blast off.
Give me that stance. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
Good things must come to an end. Approaching stage 2 burnout at 115 seconds, followed by a 20-second close stage. Stage 2 separation is
Lay it on the line to the final whistle blows.
Stage 2 burnout. Stage 2 separation. Stage 3 ignition. Stage 3 motor pressure is nominal. Vehicle attitude and flight path are nominal. Separation is confirmed.
We will not go quietly into the night. This ends now!
The Sports Blast, wrapping up your week in Boston sports every Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m.
And welcome back to the Sports Blast here on 1460 WXBR. In between, or rather during the commercial, we all anxiously hopped into the other room to watch what's looks like Jake Peavy unraveling on the mound, guys. I can't say it looks good. Right now, it looks like, what, Brian, over there, 4-0?
It's 4-0, a 2-run double by Torrey Hunter.
I'm glad I'm not seeing that TV right now.
I know, yeah, if you can
Where's
see
the
where
remote?
Mark is sitting. Not looking good, but hey, we're used to comebacks.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
We saw Sunday, didn't we?
We did see Sunday, but as a Boston sports fan, I've short memory, you know,
Yeah.
like I'm ultimately pessimistic about everything until it just becomes good.
This team will break your hat.
Game by game mentality.
A second by second mentality with me. If
We
they
live and
would
die with
have
every pitch.
if they would have hit a grand slam right now, you know, I'd forget that they were ever down 4-0.
Yeah, no, it's certainly got us all, our attention right now drawn to that. But here on the Blast Off segment where we just sign off and give our final thoughts, I just want to make sure that everyone remembers that our first show happened the week of the miraculous Sunday comeback
Brandon
on
Workman
Columbus
is
Day.
already up in the bullpen.
Oh, there you go. Brandon Workman's up.
Oh, no.
I just
It's a Grand Slam win. Now.
There you go. But no, I just want to make sure everyone remembers that this is the week we started our show, guys. The Columbus Day comeback. I think that's what we're going to remember it as.
Historic.
I think Jackie McMullen was the one that said that was one of the greatest days in Boston sports history when you're taking into account multiple sports and the magnitude of what happened in each game. I wouldn't disagree with that at all. If you take away championship games, I'd say, a playoff game plus a regular season game, probably the best I've ever seen in one day.
5-0 now, guys.
No.
Oh, stop
Okay,
it.
you can stop with the updates, Brian. You're depressing us.
And you got to add in like the Boston Marathon bombings, like and the Bruins comeback. It was 2013 has been, it's been sad, but it's been miraculous with Boston teams. It's been an awesome time for Boston fans. Just to slip that under the rug and then focus on Boston Red Sox, New England Patriots, Boston Celtics, Boston Bruins. Yeah, and the New England Revolution, if you like soccer.
It's a testament to
How are the Revolution doing?
I don't know.
you have no idea, Mark.
For Gundy's,
they
it's
play
actually
in
pretty
Gillette
good.
Stadium.
They do.
I'm gonna Google it.
At one point they actually went to 4 straight finals in MLS finals. I don't even know what you call that, and they lost all of them. I think
Houston Dynamo.
They pulled a Buffalo. They pulled a Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
That's basically what Jim Kelly's Bills did back in the 90s.
They lost back to back.
They are 1 point out of a playoff spot at the current moment in time.
Who, the Revolution?
Yes.
Why are we talking about the Revolution?
Yeah, why are we talking about the Revs? Come on, Brian. Mark,
we
thanks
got
for bringing in the
Red
Revolution
Sox.
in here. Come on. We got the Red Sox in Game 4 of the ALCS. We're talking about the Revs.
Look, I think it's a testament to how...
Hey, I'm just saying they're a team in Boston, New England.
It's true, and they're a strong team, obviously, as well, with that stat right there that I had no idea about. But I think that it's a testament to
it's now the end of the second.
The personality
of
the
teams.
Of the second. 5-0 still. Yeah. All right, then.
I don't want to know.
He got Prince Fielder out. Jake Peavy got Prince Fielder out.
Yeah, but he gave up 5 runs right
Can we
before
get a clap
on 3 hits.
Golf clap.
That's not good.
He walked 2 guys.
No. The golf clap was for the fact that he got out of the game.
Exactly.
Not for the 5 runs.
Who knows? Maybe by the time we get home tonight, they'll have tied the game.
No, but Dave, we don't know when
lead.
you're getting home because what happened to you? Your car broke
My car
down.
is dead.
Your car is sitting in the lot right now.
But see, it's a small miracle because I got here today to do the first show of the Sports Blast.
So that's pretty miraculous in itself.
Right. And now it sucks because my car's dead. And
your car's
going
to make a comeback. Your car is going to make
a
comeback.
My car needs to make a comeback. Well, it's going to get towed. So if a comeback is like somebody
what if
hitching,
you go outside
hitching
right
a wagon
now
on the
and
back
it works?
and dragging it?
Huh?
You know?
What about that?
If I go outside right now and put the keys in the ignition and the car turns on, then the Red Sox, I will say right now, are going to come back and win this game.
That would be incredible. I kind of want to watch that. Like, what happened? You got here before any of us.
And then come
the
back?
alternator's gone.
He got here 30 seconds before me.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, see, I always joke with Brian, and I think all of us do, is that he has the shortest commute of any of us. So if his car breaks down, he's walking.
Hey, he's lucky.
Whoa, that's still 7 miles, guys.
Oh, come on. 7 miles
come
is
on.
nothing.
Yeah, but if I'm planning on leaving in 15 minutes and my car breaks down, how am I going to get here? And
Well, we have an hour. We have a production meeting an hour before the show. Just skip that and use that time to walk. There you go. Problem solved.
It's going to take me an hour to walk 7 miles.
Run part of the way.
Or one of you guys could come get me.
Oh, actually, I didn't think of that.
I can't come get you.
I can come get you, Brian. I'm a loyal friend and a loyal co-host.
Okay.
I would, but I don't have a car.
I got a
now.
pickup truck. I'll just throw you in my back.
You know, you ride shotgun, you can just ride in the back
Yeah,
in the
just
open
ride in the
flatbed.
Yep. I don't want to say bed. I like to say trunk.
In the trunk.
It's not really a trunk. You can't close it.
It's open air.
Yeah, you can.
No.
You can close it. There's like a... Yeah.
You know how you know if it's a trunk? If you can put a bike in it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I don't know what it is.
You know it's a trunk if you can close it.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
it's
if it has a cover. A
It's
trunk
the
has a
back.
cover.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a cover top, so that kind of counts.
A what?
Like a cover.
like a sheet.
Like a
Can
sheet.
you say tarp again?
Tarp.
Tarp.
There you go.
I got tap.
A tap.
I don't know what it is with all our cars because Brian,
I
just
got
recently didn't you have car troubles and then I have a headlight out now and I have
just
like
had,
that stuff going on.
I just
with
had
my
to get
car.
a blinker thing replaced. It was.
Oh yeah, I remember you were telling me about that.
It was
I
not
had
that
to get my
big.
brakes fixed. I had to get my.
Well, your truck is kind of like rusty. And
Yeah, 1999. Chill out.
Mine's 2003.
It's still in shape.
You know,
Get at me.
the thing is that the
It's still
higher
shit.
powers that are out there in the universe wanted me to get here for our premiere show tonight,
And I'm so glad
And
they
it
made it.
happened, and now I don't even care. I'm glad that we got to do the show. I'm glad I got to get here, and I enjoyed it.
I know. I look forward to so many more of these too. I think this went well, and
You're looking forward to more?
Of course, I cannot wait until next Wednesday to talk about. Hopefully, knock on wood, guys.
I thought
the
we were
Red Sox in
done.
the World Series.
I thought we were done after this one.
Let's hope. We made it through one episode of the Sports Blast on
We have-
1460 WXBR. So
One run?
No. 1 minute.
stop playing with my heart, Brian. You're
Yeah,
giving me false hope. But your boy Will
I
Middlebrooks
can't
is
see
up
the
right now.
TV,
Yeah, he
guys.
is.
Watch him lay down a bunt right now.
I know. Where was that last night? Although we didn't need it. I just struck out
Middlebrooks,
swinging.
It's
You guys
a power bat, not a bunt.
You guys should just lie to me and say that the Red Sox have a tied score or they're up by 1.
Yeah, we could do
'Cause
that.
I'm not even looking at the TV right now. You could just
Yeah,
pretend.
we're almost out of here. We're almost out of here. Oh, what is this? Yeah, I like this music.
This is our exit song.
This is basically us on stage at the Oscars, and they're telling us that we've talked too long and we gotta get out.
Yeah, right.
But no, honestly, guys, seriously, this was a lot of fun tonight.
Awesome.
I really, truly enjoyed it, and looking forward to many, many more of these here on the Sports Blast every Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m.
Can I just say this song is appropriate? It's called "Rocky Endings." So end of our show.
It was a little rocky.
Maybe it wasn't rocky today because we were so pitch perfect.
But
But
we rocked the boat.
in the future, we might have rocky endings. We might have endings that rock.
Yeah.
You know?
Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows?
So,
Thank you
perfect.
to our guests,
Perfect way
by
to
the
end
way.
it.
Oh, big thank you to our guests. They were awesome. Paul Perillo, Tim Britton, Brian Macpherson, and Dan Cagen were all awesome. Thank you so
Incredible.
much for coming on today.
Can't
and
wait
for
for
everyone
next
here. Cannot wait for next week. And for everyone here, the co-hosts, you guys, give yourselves a round of applause.
Thanks, Brian, for producing the show.
Thank you, Brian.
And
Good job back there, Brian.
All right, guys, we're out of here. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Later.
Out.